Welcome everyone to another video from Views from the Stands. This is your host Gunner, and we got episode 16 of our transfer portal series, guys. We're right there. We got 3 more left, including this one, and hope you guys have been joining. So, first team, as you can see, is Michigan State. 247 has them as the 20th best class. One has them as the 51st. They brought in 10 total players. Definitely focused on the trenches on both sides. And with Michigan State, they fired the previous head coach. They hired Jonathan Smith. Shout out to him. Myself and the guys at Life to Torch podcast, we basically predicted this to happen basically. So cool to see it. Jonathan Smith deserves this type of recognition and promotion basically. And so, the theme of his class mostly is, his players following him, and we're going to start with the first guy, and it's Tanner Miller. Obviously coming from Oregon State, veteran interior lineman, pretty much one of the best centers out there in my opinion. This is somebody that I was hoping SC would look at, but we are comfortable with our center positions. So understandable, but this is somebody that's been through the trenches. So definitely a good pickup as they look to rebuild. Next guy I want to talk about here is Daquan Dowse from Georgia Tech. He is a D lineman coming out of Georgia. 5.5 sacks, 60 tackles, so he's got some production. Redshirt senior, so I think what's good about so far with most of these guys, if not all of them, I mean, they are seasoned veteran guys that have been through colleges, right, systems, and kind of know the game in some degree, right? So I think that's a good thing when you're trying to rebuild. Next guy we want to talk about is Wayne Matthews III from Old Dominion. Man, this guy has a lot of production, and he's definitely going to be playing right off the bat, in my opinion. He had 135 tackles last year, 3.5 sacks. Dude was everywhere. So I mean, you can plug and play, and he's gonna, I think, make some things happen in the Big Ten. And another guy we're going to talk about here is Jack Velling from Oregon State. He's a tight end, 6'5", 246, big body, big time tight end in my opinion. 11 career TDs, 40 catches, and again, like I mentioned, he's following his coach that went to Michigan State, and that's kind of the theme around here. And the last guy I want to talk about is Aiden Childs, man, big time quarterback from Downey, California. Shout out to Downey, California out there. He played when the games were out of reach this past year. They had DJU there this past year at Oregon State, so obviously he wasn't the guy. But he's a very, very, very talented QB. He's most likely going to be the guy this year for Michigan State, and this has always been Jonathan Smith's guy dating back to Oregon State. So SC had a little conversation with him, nothing crazy, I don't think, but obviously never transpired to anything. So I actually think this is a pretty good, solid class given where we're at the end of this, series. They're definitely just going to be in a rebuild, right? So you're trying to get veteran players that understand football and kind of lead these young men to to winning. So we're going to take a quick break here, and then we're going to get into the second team. Hi everyone. Gunner here to quickly say thank you for the continued support you guys are giving me and have been throughout this journey and whatnot. But if you haven't supported yet, please go subscribe to the channel. That will benefit you as you'll get notifications, and it benefit myself as well. I hope you guys enjoy the Transfer Portal series. Here we go. Welcome back, everyone, and we have our second team of episode 16, aka part 2, and yes, you can see it correctly. It is West Virginia. So West Virginia brought in 9 total players, definitely focused on the DB area of things, but 247 has them as the 52nd best class. One has them as the 19th best class, and let's dive into it, guys. So first guy I want to talk about is Jaheim Joseph from Northwestern, DB, 30 tackles, 3 interceptions. So safety, can play a little nickel as well. I'm guessing. I think this is a very underrated pick. I mean, Northwestern, I feel like they always have good, solid like DBs where they're just technically sound. They might not be the best out there, but I just feel like they're very smart and high IQ. You know, TJ Jackson is the next guy we're talking about. Is coming out of Troy. So he's got 80 tackles, 11 half sacks his career so far. The one thing I did see is he did take a dip in production this past year. He could have been a little banged up and whatnot, but obviously the offense could have had more focus on him in every week. So that's something that just kind of caught my eye as he goes up in competition. And another guy very similar to TJ Jackson is Ty French coming out of Gardner Webb. He's got 110 tackles, 16 half sacks. So, I mean, these two guys have crazy production, but they both basically did take a dip in production this past year. So that's just kind of my thing right now is, are we able to get that production that we saw the prior to this past year? So, that's just a big question mark right now, especially with these two guys. And the next guy we want to talk about is Aiden Garnes coming from Duquesne. 70 tackles, 4 interceptions. He is a physical DB coming out of PA, Pennsylvania. So yeah, I like this. I think it's a very underrated pick, and I think him and Joseph are going to bring some physicality to that DB room. And the last thing I want to talk about is another DB is TJ Crandell. Coming out of Colorado State. Young DB, played in some games. He had 1 interception coming out of Washington. So I think this is a good, kind of signing where you can mold him, right? You probably have some veterans in front of him so he can learn a little bit. And, he's got some talent where he's got the frame as well where you want to see. So I like it. I think he's going to take some time and some molding to do, but very underrated pickup in my honest opinion. So solid class again. I don't think it is better than Michigan State if we had to compare the two teams, but solid classes, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one, episode 16. Go like the video. Go share the video. If you haven't yet, go subscribe. Hey, enjoy your weekend, guys, and have a great Easter. Okay, peace.